What I'm about to say is equal parts exciting and terrifying. Hey y'all, happy almost New Year. So today we are talking about something kind of shocking and interesting that happened. So I finished my genre experiment. Basically, I had 13 different genres I was experimenting with to see kind of where I belong. Cat butt. And I finished. So I was originally going to do a second round once I got through all 13, but I've kind of had an epiphany. What I'm about to say is equal parts exciting and terrifying. This is the terrifying part. I am redefining my author identity. My entire backlog of books is an adult romance, and sort of paranormal. My upcoming book is an adult paranormal hunters, but I've never written a full-length young adult book. That's about to change. As I was going through my genre experiment, and I have the results here written down, out of the 13 genres or topics that I had, 6 of them came out as young adult. 5 of them were adult, and not including the nonfiction and the sequel to Two Fangs Don't Make a Fight, which comes out Saturday. Oh boy. The adult ones totaled 1,367 words during the genre experiment. The young adult ones totaled 3,511 words during the genre experiment. That's a big difference. That was the first thing, aside from the fact that most of them came out YA, that was the first thing that really made me stop and think, what does that mean? Like, what was it about the young adult ones that I got so many more words in total than I did with the adult plot lines? So I went back to think, and I realized not only was I less stressed writing the young adult, which is a big, major factor of I'm about to say, but I was more excited about it. I mean, I haven't been that excited about writing a book in a long time. I mean, Two Fangs Don't Make a Fight that comes out in January was really fun to write, but I was ridiculously stressed while writing it because I just could not get to a point where I was like, I enjoy what I've written, this is going well, I don't want to rewrite it. I haven't felt that way with any of the young adult stories that I've written so far. Granted, I haven't gotten very far in most of them, but on the one that I started for NaNoWriMo, the young adult romance, I have nearly 15,000 words into that. And I still am excited about it, have not wanted to start over, have not wanted to trash it. That's gotta mean something, right? Well, let me finish giving you the rest of the results and then we'll get to the big news. Of the 6 young adults that I started writing, only 3 out of 6 were planned to be young adults. The other ones just came out that way. And the one thing that I found really interesting was that I had young adult fantasy and fantasy as 2 of my genres. The regular fantasy was supposed to be an adult fantasy, but it came out YA. No matter what I did, it was coming out YA. And that was the results of my genre experiment. Basically, just give you a little quick lowdown on each genre. The nonfiction, I got 550 words. The YA romance, 329. Detective mystery, 500. Alien romance, 200. Thriller, 566. Literary fiction, 204. Bear shifters, 517. Interesting little side note about the bear shifters. I am taking that story and passing it on to another author friend of mine. So it might actually still get written. We'll see. Historical fiction, 50. Historical fiction was ridiculously hard to write. That one I know for sure I will not be writing in adult or young adults because it's just really difficult to get into historical fiction. Cozy Mystery 100, Teen PI 1000, which was the bulk of the young adult words. Young adult fantasy 600, and then what was supposed to be the regular fantasy, which turned out to be young adult fantasy anyway, was 812. I did not include the sequel to Two Fangs Don't Make a Fight because I kind of didn't write anything. I wrote maybe like 5 words, but my brain, that one I was working on when I kind of had this epiphany, so my brain just wasn't into it, so I didn't include that. Here comes the scary part, the redefinition of my author identity. Aside from the series that starts with Two Fangs Don't Make a Fight coming out on Saturday, which as I mentioned is an adult paranormal hunters series, I will now be writing only young adult. Yeah, let that sink in. Think about how terrifying that is for me. Exciting, but terrifying. I will only be writing young adult. So, I'm not sure how that's going to go. I'm not sure. It's going to take me a while to break into young adult because my name is not synonymous with young adult novels. I am not going to be using a pen name. I know they say if you write adult and then you want to switch to young adult, you should really use a pen name. But I'm not going to do it because all of my social media, my YouTube channel, all of it is under my real name. And I'd rather not have to remake an entire new platform with a pen name. It's not like I write erotica, you know? It's not like there's things in my adult books that are blasphemy for, you know, teenagers, or the young adult age range. So I think it'll be fine. That being said, the first young adult book I will be working on to try to get ready for release is the romance that I started for Nano. As I said, I'm almost 15,000 words into it, so we're on a good pace. This book is, I'm not exactly sure if it has an actual trope, because it's kind of sort of enemies to lovers. I mean, he's not really her enemy. He's just kind of, okay, he's a jock and she's quiet and kind of an outcast. So I'm not sure there's an exact trope, but basically the general idea of the story is kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of deal. So the love interest is one way when he's like with his friends and being the jock that everybody wants him to be, and then he's another way when he's with her and she sees the true him and he opens up and things like that. So that's why I'm calling it like a Jekyll Hyde kind of deal, which I'm not sure is an actual trope. I don't really know, and most of the tropes I know in young adult don't really fit. Something may come about as I'm going because I am writing this in pieces since it's, you know, draft 0. I'm not really working too much on connecting the dots. I'm just kind of writing the characters, quite honestly. There's not even really a solid plot. I'm just kind of writing the characters as they come to me and what they do and, you know, the time they spend together and stuff like that. And then I'll connect it later. And then in the future, I will have... We're going to see if the things I started during the genre experiment are actually going to turn into actual books. So I had the YA romance, YA thriller, YA literary fiction, YA private investigator, which is the teen PI, and YA fantasy, which I actually might have 2 YA fantasies in the works. I'm not entirely sure yet. The one that was actually planned to be YA has more of a direction than the one that wasn't. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm going to transition into becoming a young adult author. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why? Well, first of all, the surprise of the genre experiment results. Everything kept coming out YA, which just told me that maybe that's the genre well, it's not really a genre, but that's the place I'm supposed to be. Maybe I'm supposed to be writing in young adult. Secondly, I think young adult takes me out of the real life more than adult fiction does. I live adult. Why would I want to continue to live it or relive it in books? Which is a big factor for me because I need that escape. Most writers need that escape. And then a third is, unfortunately, the business side of things is the third reason. I've noticed young adult not only is more popular, but it's more of the authors that I watch on YouTube, follow on Instagram, follow on Facebook are young adult authors, and they seem not only happier, they seem to enjoy their stories more. They seem to be able to get to a place where they might not necessarily be able to write full time, but they are actually bringing in revenue. They are, actually selling copies. They're making a name for themselves. A lot of adult, not to say it's impossible. It's not impossible to do all those things with adult fiction. I just noticed it's a lot more difficult. And it's not really about the money for me. It's never really been about the money for me, but I do have to start thinking about that, especially during these P words. I have to think about where my money for my bills is coming from. I have to think about where my money for being able to eat is coming from. So that is unfortunately part of the reason. It's maybe like a third or a fourth of the reason why I'm doing it. It's more because I feel like that's where I'm meant to be then. Feel like that's where I'm more comfortable to be. And I'm just excited about writing young adult. As I said, I am going to be transitioning into young adult. So there still will be talk and things about, and updates and things about the Hunter series, which Two Fangs Don't Make a Fight comes out Saturday. That's terrifying. So there will still be some adult fiction talk. There will still be adult fiction reviews, book hauls and stuff. I still will read adult fiction, just not as often as young adult, I think. That being said, if you're new and this is the first video of mine you are watching, welcome. And if you'd like to subscribe, I'd love to have you. And if you like this video, please give it the big thumbs up. And if you want to be notified every time I post a video, which normally is on Tuesdays, this one was delayed due to illness in the household. But normally I will be posting a weekly vlog on Tuesdays. So if you'd like to be notified every time that happens, just hit that little bell and I'll show up in your notifications. I also show up in your subscriptions news feed, but if you want to be notified so you don't have to go through all your subscriptions, feel free to hit that bell. I hope you'll continue to follow me with this journey. I hope you're as excited as I am, and I hope this goes well. Wish me luck. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.